Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Sharon from Angelics-Speak.com and I channel archangels. I apologize in advance for the background noise. They're tearing out some plants and along the road near me and grinding them up, so there's a lot of noise back there. But it's fine, we'll make do. Today, Archangel Michael tells me he'd like to answer a question that came in last night because it's so relevant to what's happening right now. And in the course of answering this question, he may indeed answer others. So let's start. Greetings, everyone. This is Michael. I bid you a wonderful day and hope that you are having this. So many of you have become confronted with tremendous obstacles in your life. Weather changes, fire, earthquakes, and tsunamis. It's been a really dramatic and for often, many of you, a very painful time. Our hearts reach out to those of you who have been affected by the virus, by the great fires in the United States, and by the many, many weather events that have been occurring. They have wreaked havoc through much of your world. So today, I would like to address a question that came from a follower last night. She asked that we speak on feeling fear and the law of attraction and how to overcome it. So you're actually wanting to overcome two things: your experience of fear and your experience of the law of attraction. Of course, they are intertwined. Now, I spoke previously that some things can definitely be changed, but there are some things that cannot be changed. And the law of attraction does not address this. The reason some cannot be changed is because they have been determined by your soul. If and when you can achieve pure soul consciousness, then you can decide you don't want to experience that particular dream, and it will dissolve. But by the time you reach pure soul consciousness, the whole world has dissolved for you. So you see, it's a catch-22, as you say. There are things in your world that can most definitely be shifted through prayer, through tremendous devotion, through very clear awareness. For example, thinking of the fires in California, Oregon, and Washington State in United States. Some people have discovered a miracle. The fire stops right at their property and does not consume it, but it moves on and consumes everything around it. Surely you have heard of stories like this in past events. Storms are predicted to come directly to you, hurricanes, cyclones, tsunamis, and they shift just before they reach the critical point and change direction or dissipate. Now, this doesn't happen frequently, but it does happen sometimes. The reason it happens is that the souls involved in the space that did not get the storms or the fire had shifted their awareness to such a pure state of love, of devotion, and of clarity that they were able to shift the experience of that weather event or fire. But this is rare. To do this, you have to have done a lot of spiritual purification, either in this dream experience or in another. And your soul has to have very pure awareness and is not interested in demolishing your space. Those two things come together, you and your soul. If in fact it is your soul's decision, which is you, by the way, I simply differentiate it to help you understand. But if your soul has decided that it would like to explore the experience of tremendous loss and the devastating emotions that arise from it, you, as your soul, will project that experience. This is why, again and again, we ask you to meditate, to learn to go so deeply within that your mind and your heart become quiet. Now, it is the nature of living in the veils of contraction of awareness. These veils that keep you feeling that you are experiencing a real human life, that cause you to experience fear. There is no fear at higher dimensions. But in this contracted experience of a life, all emotions are present because this is where each of your souls experience them, to learn about them, to learn about denser emotions and how to go beyond them, to experience the pureness of devotion, of human love, love for children, love for your spouse, love for your parents, love for your friends, love for animals and plants and your earth. Because your experience in this creation of a world has the nature of duality, of oppositions, of opposing emotions. If you experience peace and serenity and fulfillment, there is also the contraction of the fear of lack, of loss, of tremendous agitation and unquiet. This is because there will always be the pairs of opposites in your experience of this dreamlike world. To move beyond this, you have to go beyond your limited mind. Now, this doesn't happen in an instant. It happens day after day, meditation after meditation, days of longing for the truth, and yet another day of longing for the truth. Each experience adds onto the others and builds until you can reach a space where you begin to go beyond the mind at will. fear. Certainly that is a theme right now, is it not? There has always been events that cause tremendous fear in your world. However, right now, there are so many. And it affects such a large population around your world. Many countries have events that are causing fear. The pandemic, the virus. Fear of political unrest. And fear of these tremendous forces of nature in your world. Now, some of your fear is certainly reality-based. There are huge masses of fire going on in the US and in various places around the world. But there is another component to this that makes it even more intense for some of you. This piece is memory. Many of you have experienced other dreamlike lifetimes through your soul as you of loss, tremendous loss, horrible illnesses, fires that destroyed your home and your family, wars. All of these subtle memories, for they are from other projections of you as your soul. All of these contribute on a very subtle level to how you experience your current challenges. For example, those of you who have experienced starvation and wars will have great fear of lack and of violence. Those of you who experience tremendous, horrific weather events or terrible fires will feel very great fear at this. The way you purify those old memories and release them is through going within. You go so deeply within that those memories burn away and they're gone. Now some residual will always remain in this dreamlike experience. The moment you step out of that dream, they'll be gone completely. But sometimes some of those very profound memories that are not necessarily conscious, but have a deep effect on your emotions, will remain. And you will react deeper, more powerfully to an event that feels the same. So there is the reality of the potential for a terrible event to occur to you and your loved ones and your property. And there are the subtle memories of other lifetimes projected by you as your soul, and the pain of similar experiences. Third, there is attachment. Your individual attachment to your things, your property, your family, your loved ones, and ultimately to being alive. If you have no real deep faith that when you leave this dream you still exist, then there can be tremendous fear of death. And for those of you who are very attached to the things that you have in your world, your property, your home, the memories embodied in your home. It is especially frightening to consider losing it all in a flash, isn't it? So these three components, the reality of the event, the subtle memories of similar events in previous times or in the past, in this time, and your attachment to your things, the people around you, your life as it is now. All of these three components contribute to fear when there is a threat of losing it all. The subtle memories have to be burnt in time. If they're not burnt now and you're facing a horrific event like fire, tsunami, earthquakes, hurricanes, that can't be completely dealt with all at once. However, through prayer or deep meditation, you can quiet those fears, those emotions, and give yourself respite. Read something that uplifts you and helps you shift your mind to something that makes you feel soothed instead of frightened. It gives your emotions a break. It gives the rest of your system a break when you're afraid. As to your attachments to things, your home, things that bring up loving memories, and an attachment to the way things are. Allow me to tell you a story, again, from our channel's mind. She has a lot of stories in there, and we really appreciate them. Once, there was a gentleman in India who had experienced a fire that burned his hut when he was young. Later, he became a landowner and eventually built a great factory. He had a lot of money at that point and a beautiful home near the factory. One day, a horrible fire came and burned down the factory and his home while he was away. He came back to nothing. The villagers around him felt tremendous sadness for him. How horrible it must be that he's lost everything. But they remarked to each other that he was so calm, so peaceful. They marveled that he did not seem disturbed by all of this loss that he'd experienced. Finally, someone came to him and asked him, "How is it that you appear so peaceful with such a devastating loss?" He said, "When I was young, I experienced a fire that took everything. And I had a sudden realization that at any time, this could happen again and again. So every day, when I look around and I saw my beautiful place and my factory and my abundance, I would say to myself, it's burnt. It's burnt. It's all burnt up. Remembering that at any moment, something could happen to take away the things in my life, the structure of my life. And so, because I have contemplated this, when it happened, I am at peace. He understood the transient nature of his reality, that at any time it can change on a dime. So often people become settled in a way of being, in a way of living, and it's comfortable for them. They don't want it to change. They become grounded in peace only when the reality stays the same. If their outer reality shifts dramatically, for example, their home burns away, there is no peace, because their peace was established in their home instead of deep within. This state of becoming established in inner peace is not an easy state to attain. It takes constant focus and discipline to meditate every day, to contemplate the true reality of what you're experiencing, that you're dreaming. And just like your sleeping dreams, the reality that you currently experience can change in an instant, in a thought. And suddenly you are thrust into a whole different experience. If you place your sense of self, your contentment, your peace, in objects around you, your home, your couch, your television, your car, even your friends. If those things, any one of them or even all of them, are suddenly removed, it's devastating. You have lost your center. If instead you continually focus on the experience within of inner peace, contentment, no matter what is happening around you, you have learned a profound lesson that will carry you through all dimensions. Now, as to the law of attraction, some of you contemplating this story I just told would say, of course his place burned down. He thought about it burning down every day, so he manifested it. Who's to say that that was not his soul's intention? He, as his soul's intention, to test, to see if he had attained that state. Now, the law of attraction works to some extent, as I said earlier, but not totally. The more you have clarity of mind and inner tranquility, the more easily you will manifest the experience around you the way you would like it to be. For you see, you are manifesting everything around you. You are the dreamer experiencing your dream. But just as it takes work to learn to become a conscious dreamer in your sleep state, and manipulate your dreams in your sleep state, it takes even more effort to learn to do this in this reality. It works well if you don't have an attachment to what you want to manifest. If you are peaceful, if it can come or not, then it manifests quite easily for the most part. But if you have tremendous attachment to a certain outcome, remember, you live in this dream in a world of opposites. If you are clinging strongly and intensely to a desire, you may indeed attract the opposite. Now, there are things that you can most certainly shift, and with practice you can get better and better at it. There are some things that no matter how hard you individually try to shift, you just can't. However, with prayer, with the intervention of grace from your guides, your angels, your masters, and us, the archangels, at times there can be a divine intervention that shifts it. But this is only in accordance with the lessons you created this dream as a soul to learn. If in fact you wanted, for example, to experience tremendous grief, to know what that was like, and to see if the light of the divine was extinguished through horrific events, there might be a horrible loss of a loved one, a child, a spouse. As horrible as that may seem, on a soul level, it's far different. It's an experience in order to understand, does tremendous grief and pain extinguish that beautiful light deep within your heart, the light of Source? Once that particular lesson is learned, it's not necessary to repeat it. This is why sometimes a child becomes very ill, and parents pray and are very devoted, and yet the child still leaves its body. Because this was the lesson that you, as your soul, wanted to understand from a much higher perspective. Because, remember, it's a dream, it's dreamlike, but you still go through the whole gamut of profound human emotion, the turbulence of the mind. Many physical illnesses can be healed. However, some cannot. I'm sure this will offend some healers, but it is the truth. There are beings who have been manifested by their souls to have certain physical challenges. This is a soul lesson. And this is why, on a very mundane level, healers say, oh, they don't want to let go of their illness. Sometimes, on a human level, that's true. But on others, it is because of their soul wanting to learn all of the things that go with having physical problems, struggles, being handicapped and looked at differently. This is why it's important never to hold judgment on another individual's situation or life circumstances. There are other beings who have chosen to manifest but really don't want to be here. One example is angelic beings. They often manifest many illnesses of assimilation. This is because, although they have come for a mission, they truly want to be home and remember vividly what home is. And so in their longing and grief, they often manifest illnesses. It's fine, because that too is part of their soul lesson. They, as a soul, have manifested this. So don't judge people by their circumstances. The drunkards, the folks who are addicted to drugs, folks who have difficulty with their minds and emotions. That is not necessarily at all who they truly are. It's easy in your world of duality to look at them and say, why don't they just stand up, get a job, stop moping around, stop being ill? It's so easy to heal it. Remember, you don't know what their soul lessons are. And those soul lessons cannot be shifted, no matter how hard the individual tries, until the soul has learned its lesson, answered the question that it manifested this being of itself to learn. Until then, it is fixed. So there are things that are fairly easily changed. There are things that can have divine intervention, which means a being not of physical form who is of a higher state of consciousness and awareness than the one they are serving. They can intervene and shift that reality somewhat. And then there are those that simply can't be shifted because they are part of the reason for having the dream in the first place. Those things do not change until the soul has mastered the lesson. Then suddenly they become easy to drop. And people say, oh, she finally let go, or he finally let go. In fact, the soul let go because they mastered the lesson. So back to the experience of fear. If you can't find a place of quietude yet within your own being, do things that help you to become quiet. A hot bath, quiet music that you know that you can take with you if you have to leave your home. Talking with a friend. Prayer. We hear your prayers, and they are offered to Source. So in this way, we can often reach out and touch your heart and your mind and give you a period of quietude and peace. The deepest lesson in all of these experiences is the experience of surrender, letting go, offering your home, your property, your resources, your money, offering all of it to Source in whatever name you give it. Allah, God, Jehovah, etc. Giving everything with all of your heart to Source, giving the outcome of the events that may be approaching you, giving that outcome to Source, letting go. And then part of that letting go is listening to those who approach you and say, please come. A flood is approaching your house. A fire is approaching your house. It's time to evacuate. Don't hesitate. You have given everything you own to Source. You've let go. There's no reason to stay. Gather your loved ones, your pets, and leave. If you want, you can take something in your pocket that's very precious to you. Stuff a photo in your wallet and carry it. Bring music that you can listen to with headphones when you're in a shelter. Or even plan ahead. Go to family. Go to friends' homes that are safe. Instead of living on the very edge, allow yourself the quietude to leave when it's approaching. Don't sacrifice your life for an attachment to your things. These human experiences, the opportunity to have these dreamlike experiences comes rarely. Don't squander them because you're attached to things that can be replaced, to a life structure that you don't want to change. The nature of your dreamlike reality is constant, incessant change. That's the one thing that you can count on. And if you've lived in your home for 30, 40 years, and suddenly you might lose it, you've been blessed to not experience that particular kind of turbulence. But it does come. Offer everything and offer the outcome to the events that you're facing. Offer all of it constantly to Source. When you can fully offer it all, there's peace, even in horrific events. When you can offer the experience of having a life, a physical form, offer your fear of losing it. When you offer it deeply, there is peace, even in the greatest of storms. Let go of your attachments. None of the things that you experience right now are even yours. They never were. Parents know this. A child comes into their life, it's a miracle. And they realize This child is for me to care for. I don't own it. It's not a thing. It's a living being. In the same way, the entire reality that you have manifested around you is not yours. It's changeable. Events come and go. Things come and go. Isn't that so? You get a beautiful new washing machine, a stove, a vacuum cleaner, and you love them in that moment when you get them new. They're so beautiful. And then a little time goes by and poof, they break. You don't love them anymore. So think of your reality. The motor's not working right now, and so there's a fire. Let go. When something shifts, it just shifts, and you flow with the movements of the new direction. Learn to relax and flow with your reality. Now we know this is very hard for many of you. It's one thing to contemplate it when you're sitting quietly with nothing approaching you. It's quite another when fire or a hurricane or a tsunami is breathing down your neck. We know this. But this is when the tests come. Can you let go? How strong are you? How well can you maintain your state of inner peace, no matter what the event? How profoundly can you hold on to the tremendous love, your devotion for your beloved Lord? Even in the worst events. Let go. Let this be a mantra for you during the day. Let go and offer it to Source, to your beloved Lord, whoever that may be, whatever name you give him. It's Source. Meditate every day. Become quiet. Become detached from the things in your reality, so that at any moment you could simply walk away and take all of you and all of your peace and contentment with you. Don't project it into your physical space. Find it deep in your own heart. That space within melts away all the fear. There is only peace, tremendous love and light. That's home, deep within. We all offer you our deepest love. We do hear your prayers, and we do offer them up. I am Archangel Michael.